The day the fever took hold was the day I discovered the life my husband lived without me. I found it on his phone, in a hidden folder filled with videos of him and his young assistant, tangled in hotel sheets and office suites. The irony was a bitter pill. At that very moment, Julian, my devoted husband, was standing in the sub-zero wind, cracking the ice on the lake. He was doing this for me, all because I'd whimsically mentioned a craving for fresh fish. When he finally came upstairs, shivering but triumphant, with a bowl of steaming fish soup he'd simmered himself, he collapsed. He ran a high fever for 3 days, and through his delirium, only one name passed his lips: mine. "Ellie," he'd murmur, his hand searching for mine in the dark. My Ellie. For a moment I let myself believe it. I believed he loved me, but the evidence on his phone was undeniable. He loved me, yes, but I was not the only one. The divorce papers were sent to his lawyer while he was out buying my favorite cheesecake from a bakery across town. By the time he got the notification, I was already on a flight crossing an ocean. I heard later that he tore the city apart looking for me, a frantic, desperate man chasing a ghost. The next time I saw him, it was on the national news, a trending topic on every social media platform. His eyes were bloodshot, his face gaunt. He confessed his infidelity to the world, not, he claimed, for forgiveness, but for one last chance to see me. But I would never turn back. "Ma'am, the next available flight is in 10 days. The ticketing agent's voice was tinny through the phone. "Please book me the earliest one on that day," I said, my own voice steady, betraying none of the storm inside me. The moment I hung up, the dam broke. Tears streamed down my face, hot and silent. The click of the front door opening made me freeze. It was Julian, holding a bouquet of roses, a broad smile on his face. He pulled a warm burrito from inside his coat and pressed it into my hands. "Ellie, your favorite food truck was finally out today. I waited in line for 3 hours, but I got the first one." His smile faltered as he saw my face. He leaned in, pressing his forehead against mine. His touch a familiar comfort that now felt like a brand. "Your eyes are red. Are you getting sick again? Do you have a fever?" I gently pushed him away, wiping my cheeks with the back of my hand. "No, just a sad movie. It was about how a man like you is a treasure." Julian's chest puffed out with a touch of pride. "Well, of course. Of course. But my ticket was booked. In 10 days our marriage would be over." I looked at the man before me, the man who had pursued me for 4 years, loving me with a ferocious intensity that had finally broken through my cynical walls. I, a child of a bitter divorce, had never believed in love. But Julian was different. A whispered wish before bed would become a reality by morning. If I playfully pouted and said I was done with him, his eyes would well with genuine tears as he hugged me tight, begging me not to leave him. I had truly believed he was different from my father. But his phone had delivered a fatal blow to that illusion. He had always let me use his phone freely, but that day, possessed by a strange intuition, I'd found it. A hidden partition, a second profile. The password was our anniversary. Inside was a gallery of betrayal, grainy videos of him and his assistant Mia, their bodies entwined, screenshots of group chats with his friends, detailing nights out at places he told me he was too tired to go to. Every conversation ended with the same warning: "Don't let Ellie find out." No one told me, but fate, or perhaps just cruel cosmic irony, had decided I should know. A bitter laugh escaped my lips, my hands trembling so violently I could barely hold the device. As I looked up from the screen, my vision blurred. Julian walked in holding a takeout container with a grin. It was the boxed meal from the long-distance train I jokingly said I missed. He'd driven to the main station late at night just to buy it for me. Back then, he had taken my trembling hands in his. "Are you cold?" he'd asked, draping his coat over my shoulders. See, even the most attentive, most perfect husband can find the energy to love someone else. The memory faded and a fresh wave of tears fell. Julian pulled me into a panicked embrace. "Ellie, what is it? What's wrong? Please don't cry." "Julian," I said, my voice muffled against his chest, "you know how much I hate cheating." His body went rigid. His voice was a stutter. "Ellie, why are you suddenly talking about that?" "It's nothing. Just the movie plot." He let out a breath of relief. I pulled back and looked him in the eye. "Before we got married, I made a vow. If either of us ever cheated, I would simply disappear." Julian's arms tightened around me. "I know, Ellie. And I would never, ever cheat on you." After he had soothed me, He went to the kitchen to start dinner. I watched his capable figure moving about, the familiar silhouette of the man I thought I knew. I opened my email and composed the divorce notice, scheduling it to be sent in 10 days. At the dinner table, he pushed all the best dishes toward my side of the table, watching me with a loving gaze. "You're so beautiful, Ellie." The adoration in his eyes seemed so real, so genuine. But a faint, rosy smudge on his collar, a lipstick stain he hadn't noticed, screamed a different truth. He'd come home in such a rush to cook for me, he hadn't even changed his shirt. I blinked hard, fighting back the tears. "Ellie, our anniversary is in 10 days, he said, his eyes sparkling. "I have a huge surprise planned for you." I tilted my head back, my voice thick with unshed tears. "I have a big gift for you too. I'm sure you'll love it." His face lit up. He leaned in close, nuzzling my neck playfully. But the cloying scent of another woman's perfume on his skin made my stomach turn. I flinched away without thinking. Julian's eyes instantly turned red-rimmed and wounded. "Ellie? Are you pushing me away? Don't you want me anymore?" I didn't answer, and his panic grew. He gripped my hand tightly. "My love, I love you so much. Please don't ever leave me. I'll change anything, I'll do anything." He looked so sincere. But his love wasn't mine alone. Just moments ago I had seen Mia's latest social media post. A photo of her and Julian, his head bent down to kiss her, wearing the very same shirt he had on now. "I'm a little tired," I said, pushing him away again. He immediately looked apologetic, clinging to me. "I'm so sorry, Ellie. I've been so busy with work lately I haven't had time for you. How about we go to the island tomorrow? Just us." "I don't want to go." Undeterred, he pulled 2 tickets from his pocket. "But I got us front row seats to your favorite singer's concert." These were impossible to get. I knew they were. I hesitated, then agreed. It could be a farewell trip, a final goodbye to the life I thought I had. "Let's book 2 separate rooms this time," I added. "I'd like some space to rest." The light in Julian's eyes flickered, replaced by fear and confusion. "Ellie, you're not yourself. Did I do something to make you angry?" I forced a smile. "No, of course not. I've just been exhausted lately. I need a few days to myself." He questioned me a few more times before reluctantly accepting it. When we arrived at the island resort, Julian opened his suitcase. Inside, he had packed everything for me. Daily outfits, all my cosmetics, and even concert essentials. He was so thorough that he'd even packed a new set of blister pads for my heels. "Ellie, I learned how to ride a scooter," he announced proudly, hiding a scraped and bruised arm behind his back. "I can take you for a ride all around the island." He led me to the beach and we sat on the sand. He planted a soft kiss on my cheek as we watched the horizon. "They say a couple who kisses by the sea will stay together forever, Ellie." I wiped the spot where his lips had touched my skin. "Is that so?" In a few days I would be gone, and we would never see each other again. Drowsiness took over in the afternoon, so I went back to my room for a nap. When I woke up I sent Julian a text, but he didn't reply. Worried he might panic if he couldn't find me, I went to his room to knock. But as I approached his door I heard it. The unmistakable rhythmic sounds of 2 people, their soft moans and gasps muffled by the wood. My fingers went numb. I pulled out my phone and opened Mia's social media. Her location tag was the same as ours, this very resort. Her latest post was a picture of her lying on the beach while Julian rubbed lotion onto her back. The caption read, "Sponsor knows I love the island, so he brought me here for a special treat." A sneer twisted my lips. So that was it. I was just an add-on, a convenient cover for his real vacation. He couldn't even wait a single afternoon. How disgusting. Mia had just graduated and immediately became Julian's assistant. People whispered, wondering if she was a prodigy or if she had powerful connections. Only I knew the truth. It was because she was a carbon copy of me. In college. In her, Julian had found the thrill of youthful indiscretion. Someone had once tried to comfort me after finding out. "Look how much he loves you," they'd said. "Even his mistress looks just like you." But infidelity in my book was a capital offense. It didn't matter what the other woman looked like. The sounds from the room continued, a soundtrack to my heartbreak. My hands grew cold as I scrolled through the comments on Mia's post. They were all congratulatory. Someone even pointed out she was staying at the most luxurious hotel in the city. When one user questioned if she was an escort, a new account immediately jumped to her defense. "I have the money, and my woman deserves to be spoiled with the best. I recognized Julian's tone instantly. It was the same thing he had said to me countless times. The account then started a giveaway, dropping several $1,000 cash prizes in the comment section. The true Yisung all vanished, replaced by a chorus of people wishing them a long and happy life together. My heart seized a sharp stabbing pain. I thought I was ready to let go, so why did it still hurt this much? Tears finally fell, hot and uncontrollable. I turned and walked back to my room, immediately starting to pack. I couldn't bear to see any more evidence of Julian's double life. He must have seen my text, because a frantic knocking echoed on my door moments later. He saw my packed suitcase and his face went slack with shock. "Ellie, what's wrong? Why are you leaving?" "It's nothing. I just don't like the air here." He felt my forehead, then rummaged through his bag for my allergy medication. "I brought your nasal spray. Take this and just sit down and wait for me. I'll pack." I watched him, his movements efficient, his expression full of genuine concern. But his belt was loosely buckled, and a few buttons on his shirt were in the wrong holes. He thought his secrets were safe, but every little detail was a confession. We took the first flight home. On the plane, Julian carefully shielded my head, worried I'd get airsick. But I couldn't muster any happiness, so I just closed my eyes. He sensed my mood. "Ellie," he whispered, his voice tentative, "if you're ever unhappy, you have to tell me. Even if you wanted the moon, I'd find a way to pluck it from the sky for you." I just hummed in response. "Julian, if you ever stop loving me, you have to tell me." He looked at me as if I'd struck him, his eyes glistening. "Ellie, I promise you, I will only ever love you." I laughed to myself, a bitter, hollow sound. Back home, he ran a bath for me, telling me to relax and call him when I was done. Exhausted and numb, I fell asleep in the tub. When I woke up, the water was ice cold and Julian was gone. Dizzy, I tried to stand, but my legs gave out and I collapsed onto the rug. When Julian returned, a doctor was already putting me on an 4 drip. The diagnosis was a high fever and exhaustion. Julian clenched his fists, his face a mask of self-loathing. He gently blew on the spot where the needle entered my hand, lightly hitting his own head. "Ellie, I'm so sorry. There was an emergency at the office. I thought I could deal with it quickly, but it took longer than I expected. I'm so sorry, baby. It will never happen again." "Is that so?" From the bathroom window, I had seen it all. He had been standing on the street below. Mia had run up and thrown herself into his arms. They had embraced, then slipped into the back seat of his car. The car had rocked gently for a long time before the doors opened again. So that was his emergency at the office. Over the next few days, Julian doted on me, cooking elaborate meals and tending to my every need. My health improved. One afternoon while he was out, I called my best friend Sophie and we went for a walk. In the middle of the shopping district, I saw him. He had his arm around a woman, leading her into a high-end hotel. It was Mia. I followed them inside. They were brazen, kissing openly in the grand lobby, Julian's hands roaming her body. I hid behind a large pillar, close enough to hear their hushed conversation. "Julian," Mia purred. "Who do you love more? Me or Eleanor?" Julian's expression hardened and his hands froze. "I told you never to mention her. She is pristine. You are base. Don't you dare let her name pass through your lips." Mia's face fell, but she recovered quickly, guiding his hand to her chest, even pulling open her coat slightly. "But Julian, I'm wearing the..." He closed his eyes, a wave of lust washing over his face. He leaned in and whispered something in her ear. Mia beamed. From his lip movements, I could read what he said. "I love you in bed. She could never be as wild as you." Sophie wrapped an arm around me, her own voice trembling. "Ellie, let's go. Don't look at them. You're leaving in 3 days. We'll never see him again." I collapsed into her arms and sobbed, all the pain and humiliation of the past weeks pouring out of me. When Julian came home that evening, he was carrying a designer dress bag. He knelt by my bed, his voice pleading. "Ellie, there's a company banquet tonight. Could you please come with me? Everyone is bringing their wives." I nodded. We weren't divorced yet. I was still officially his wife. He kissed my forehead, smiling, telling me he had already booked a makeup artist to come to the house. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Mia stood at the door, a picture of manufactured innocence and distress. Julian's voice was a low hiss. "What are you doing here? Didn't I warn you?" I pushed past Julian, my face a mask of gentle welcome. Is that your assistant? What can we do for you? Mia feigned fear, hiding behind me. I was just delivering some documents to Mr. Vance. I don't know why he's so angry. You're so much nicer, Mrs. Vance. She took my hand, asking to add me on a social app. Julian's face went pale, and he tried to refuse, but I held out my phone and accepted her request. Mia stuck her tongue out at Julian and then dashed off. Julian frowned, his tone dripping with annoyance. That assistant. I'm going to fire her one of these days. As he spoke, his fingers were flying across his own phone screen. I glanced over and saw the new message from Mia. She had sent him a photo of herself in a revealing outfit. The caption was playful. Mr. Vance, isn't it exciting? Wearing this right in front of your wife. Julian swallowed hard. His reply was swift. You little vixen. Just you wait. Tonight I'll show you what real excitement is. I smiled a dead smile as I scrolled through Mia's public feed, the one she hadn't blocked me from. I saw a picture of him holding hands with her in the car on the day he'd driven miles to buy me that little cheesecake. I saw pictures of them in his office on nights he told me he was working late. I saw selfies of them in our living room, taken after I had fallen asleep. A wave of nausea washed over me. Suddenly, the massive screen on a nearby commercial building lit up with a huge photo of Mia. Happy birthday, Mia, the text read. I looked at Julian. He nodded knowingly. You like that, Ellie? Our anniversary is tomorrow. I promise you, it will be even more spectacular than this. I took a deep breath. Mia's new post had already gone up. Thank you to my sponsor for the lavish birthday surprise. We'll see, I said softly. I might not even be here by then. His heart seemed to skip a beat. He pulled me into his arms, his voice a desperate whisper. Don't say that. I'm going to give you the best surprise of your life. At the banquet, I was on his arm, the perfect wife. He brought me tiny cakes, deflected offers of alcohol, and held me close whenever anyone got too near. Everyone told me how lucky I was. But from across the room, I saw Mia give Julian a subtle nod. He settled me in a safe corner with a few acquaintances. Ellie, I have to go discuss a deal. You wait here for me, okay? I watched him walk over to Mia's corner. In the shadows, I saw him lift the hem of her skirt. My phone screen was still open to her social media. Wearing black stockings for the party. Hope the sponsor likes them. My heart plummeted. I stood up, left the banquet without a word, and went home to pack. When Julian realized I was gone and rushed home, the house was nearly empty of my belongings. He let out a long sigh of relief, just glad that I was still there. Ellie, why didn't you wait for me? Why did you come home alone? I thought you were angry and had run off to hide. In the past, when we fought, I would hide, and the relief and panic in his eyes when he found me was the only way I felt truly loved. The party was boring, I said, my voice flat. He looked apologetic, pulling a small box of snacks from his pocket. I saw you liked these, so I had them packed up for you. He looked around at the sparse rooms. I offered an explanation. The house was getting cluttered, so I did some cleaning. He ruffled my hair, his tone joking. For a second, I thought you were leaving me. Maybe I am. The atmosphere turned to ice. I patted his shoulder. I'm kidding. He collapsed onto my lap, his shoulders shaking with sobs. Ellie, don't ever say things like that. It scares me. Later, as I was getting ready for bed, he knocked on the bathroom door. Ellie, I have to go back to the banquet for a bit. There's still some business to handle. I nodded. Okay. He pushed the door open and found me sitting on the closed toilet lid, just staring into space. Ellie, what's wrong? I gave him a genuine, brilliant smile. Go on. Someone's waiting for you. He didn't catch my meaning. He kissed me a few more times, then left, not returning for the rest of the night. I finished my shower and threw everything that was left of mine into the trash. Julian was still sending me texts, apologizing for being so busy, promising to make it up to me. Meanwhile, on Mia's feed, a new photo appeared. Julian's hand intertwined with hers, lying in a bed of flowers. I placed the signed divorce agreement on the dining room table. Tomorrow the email would be sent. Before leaving, I typed out one last text message. Julian, goodbye. His call came through almost instantly, his voice laced with panic. Ellie? Where are you, Ellie? I pulled out the SIM card and snapped it in half. In my world, at that very moment, Julian Vance ceased to exist. From the airplane, I logged into the home security cameras. The house was in chaos. Julian had torn it apart. He was sitting in front of a painting I'd made, staring blankly, running his hands through his hair in disbelief. I had left without a warning, without a reason. My old phone was on the table. I watched as he picked it up. His expression shifted as he scrolled through it. He must have found the photos I'd taken of his phone screen, the copies of his sorted videos and messages. The divorce papers, which he had initially ripped to shreds, were now painstakingly pieced back together with tape, sitting squarely in the center of the table. Julian just sat on the floor, a man hollowed out. A message came through on my new phone from Sophie. "Ellie, Julian is here at my shop looking for you. What should I do? Tell him I'm dead." After a long pause, she simply replied, "Okay." I watched Julian on the camera feed, scrolling through the recorded footage, but I had already wiped the servers clean before my plane even took off. Sophie sent me a video. It was Julian in her shop shouting my name, demanding I come out. I calmly called the police for her. "Ellie," she whispered to me over the phone later, "you can't be with a man with a temper like that. He smashed half my coffee mugs." Julian began to bombard my social media accounts. The messages were all the same. "Ellie, I'm sorry. I never should have done those things. Ellie, please just give me one more chance." I blocked him. He made new accounts. I changed all my usernames and profile pictures, becoming invisible. Sophie called again. "Ellie, he came by again today. To stop him from harassing you, I told him you were dead. I even made a little burial mound for you in my back garden." In the video she sent, Julian was on his knees in front of a small pile of dirt, kowtowing repeatedly. The scene was so absurd I wondered if he'd lost his mind. "Does he actually believe it?" I asked. "I think so," Sophie said, sounding uncertain. Then, Julian started digging at the mound with his bare hands. When he found nothing but dirt, he let out a guttural cry of despair. "Ellie, where are you? I've had everyone looking for you. It's like you vanished into thin air." He was sobbing now. "Eleanor, I love you so much. I never ever wanted to hurt you. I swear I didn't. But that assistant. She was so much like you were in college. The way she talked, it reminded me of you, and I just couldn't resist. I'm a monster. I deserved to die." He was wailing, but on my end I was smiling. "A lack of self-control is a personal failing," I murmured to the screen. "It has nothing to do with anyone else." Sophie turned and walked away, leaving Julian collapsed on the ground. Just when I thought it was over, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Mia crying hysterically. "Mrs. Vance, Eleanor, please help me. Julian is going to kill me. Please tell him I didn't tell you anything about us." The phone was snatched away. I heard Julian's voice, thick with emotion. "Hello? Hello." When he got no response, I heard a smash as he threw the phone against a wall. "You lied to me. You dared to lie to me. There's no one there." His voice was filled with a chilling hatred. Mia cried out. "There is, I swear there is. A friend of mine who works in ticketing told me she booked an international flight for Eleanor." There was a crash of breaking glass, followed by Mia's choked sob. "Julian, Eleanor is gone. Look at me. I bought new lingerie for you." Julian kicked something. "Who set you up to get close to me? Did you know what Eleanor looked like from the start? Were you sent to seduce me? If it weren't for you, my Ellie would never have left." After another furious roar, Mia's panicked voice cried, "Blood! There's so much blood. Call a doctor yourself," Julian said, his voice cold and distant. "And have your friend in ticketing contact me. If I can't find Eleanor, you will all pay." The line went dead. I felt a strange mix of emotions, but none of them were pity. The next time I saw him, he was standing outside my apartment building in a new country. A blanket of white snow covered his shoulders and hair. He didn't knock. He just stood there waiting. I closed the curtains. I wasn't surprised he'd found me. His reach was long, but I would not see him. I had enough food to last for days. I stayed inside for a week. When I finally looked out again, he was gone. The neighbors were all talking about an Asian man who had collapsed from hypothermia and low blood sugar and was taken to the hospital. He was looking for his wife, they said. What a romantic story. I just felt a cold shiver. I packed my bags and moved that very day. When Julian was released from the hospital and returned to that street, I was long gone. He was wearing the same suit he wore when we first met, holding a massive bouquet of roses. He knocked on the door of my old apartment. when a burly white man answered. Julian, in a fit of rage, punched him in the face. They were both arrested. I saw it all on a local news blog. In the mugshot, Julian's face was swollen and bruised. When he saw a reporter filming him, he rushed forward and grabbed the man's arm. Please post this online. Eleanor, wherever you are, I miss you so much. Please come out and see me. Just once. The comment section was filled with people calling him a devoted, romantic hero, and calling me ungrateful. See, the whole world thought he was a good man. In reality, he was rotten to the core. His company forced him to return home. His extended absence had caused the stock to plummet, and the board was furious. I suddenly remembered I still had access to the company's internal forum, an account Julian had set up for me years ago. I logged in and found my inbox flooded with messages from him. The most recent one, a tearful voice note from 3 minutes ago, saying how much he missed me. As I was about to delete the account, a post caught my eye. It was security footage from Julian's office, a camera he had installed to make me feel secure years ago, one we had both forgotten. It showed Mia, dressed provocatively, entering his office. Julian's brow furrowed in anger. She mimicked my mannerisms, my posture, my smile. For a moment he seemed lost in a trance. But just as his hand was about to touch her, he snatched it back as if burned. Get out, he roared, throwing a paperweight at her. She approached him again, her eyes red. He shoved her to the floor. Stop bothering me. But Ellie's gone, she cried. Can't I take her place? Julian exploded, sweeping everything off his desk. How dare you? You were nothing but a distraction, a toy. How dare you even say her name? The internal forum was alight with a poll. Who does the CEO love more? Every single vote was for me. I had no interest in this petty drama. As I went to log out, I saw a new vote had been cast for Mia. She had commented below it herself. I will make him fall in love with me. The other employees jeered in the replies. The next time Mia entered his office, Julian was on the verge of a complete breakdown. He made a few calls and had her transferred to a remote branch in Africa. There are plenty of men in Africa, he snarled, his eyes glinting with malice. A woman like you will do well there. Mia's confident smirk vanished, replaced by despair. She looked at him with a bitter smile. Julian, I was pregnant with your child. But you beat him out of me yesterday. Julian's jaw tightened. He wiped his fingers on a napkin as if cleaning something foul. Disgusting, he muttered. Mia ran out of the office, laughing maniacally. Julian started drinking heavily. He began calling the number Mia's friend had provided over and over. One night, deep in a dream, my phone rang. Half asleep, I answered the unknown number with a groggy hello. It was Julian, his voice slurred with alcohol. Ellie? Is that you? Ellie, where are you? His voice broke. Ellie, I miss you so much. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see you standing in front of me, telling me how disappointed you are. Ellie, I'm sorry. Please, I'm begging you, just let me see you one more time. I hung up and changed my number again. I invited Sophie to travel with me for a while. When I went to pick her up at the airport, I saw a familiar shadow behind her but thought nothing of it. After a wonderful week, I walked her back to her departure gate. On my way home, Julian appeared in front of me. He was a wreck. His beard was unkempt, his hair long and greasy. The confident, brilliant man I had married was gone. I pulled my hat down, trying to walk around him. He blocked my path, his eyes filled with a deep, bottomless guilt. I'm sorry, Ellie. I was wrong. Can we please just talk? How did you know I was here? I asked, my voice cold. He hesitated. Your friend. She bought a ticket here. I guess she was coming to see you, so. His voice trailed off, but the hair on my arm stood on end. Julian, did you follow us? He reached for me, but I recoiled. Ellie, I was just so afraid I'd never see you again. Please, let's just have one meal together. I'm begging you. I took a deep breath, deciding it was time to end this once and for all. Fine. The flicker of hope in his eyes was so genuine it almost hurt. When he showed up at the restaurant, he was clean-shaven and impeccably dressed. He pulled out my chair, ordered all my favorite dishes, and even cut my steak for me just like he always used to. I pushed the plate away. Julian, I want you to sign the papers. I told you when we got married. I despise infidelity. He shook his head frantically, clutching his chest. Ellie, please. Don't divorce me. Then I will sue for divorce. I stood up and left the untouched meal on the table. He reached out to grab my hand, a gesture he had made 1,000 times before. But I no longer belonged to him. I moved again to a place he could never find. The next time I saw him, he was once again a top trending topic. He had posted a video of himself looking directly into the camera. "Hello everyone. My name is Julian Vance and I cheated on my wife." The public was divided. Some called him a tragic romantic hero. Others vilified him. A group of his supporters even started a Find Eleanor campaign. Julian had promised $1,000 to anyone who provided a lead, real or fake, and a matching $1,000 donation to charity for each tip. Suddenly, photos of me were everywhere online. My life was no longer my own. His so-called love had become a suffocating public violation. Then, some anonymous netizen posted the photo of Julian and Mia in the corner at the banquet. And in the foreground my back was visible. I was sitting there watching the whole thing. The internet exploded. Julian, they said, had a heart attack when he saw it. The thought that I, his beloved Ellie, had witnessed his sordid affair firsthand, had apparently broken him. He collapsed. And that's when I called him. He picked up, his hello a fragile whisper. My voice was ice. "Julian, stop this campaign immediately. If you don't, I am going to the police. You have completely destroyed my life. If you ever loved me at all, you will leave me alone." He was silent for so long I thought he'd hung up. Then finally his broken voice came through. "Okay, Ellie. I'm sorry." He took a breath. "But I love." I ended the call before he could finish. I had no time for the words of a broken man. Overnight, all content related to me vanished from the internet. I was free to live my life. At a prestigious design exhibition a year later, where my work was being showcased, I saw him in the audience. He looked older, worn down. He saw me on stage but didn't dare approach. He looked just like the shy, uncertain boy I'd first met all those years ago. My signature piece, a necklace, was up for auction. Julian outbid everyone, paying an exorbitant price for it. He asked the staff if he could meet the designer. The request was relayed to me backstage. I refused, but I asked the staff member to pass along a message. "Tell him the necklace is called Rebirth." I smiled. "And tell him I have found peace. I hope he can stop living in the past." When Julian heard the message, he sank to the floor, leaning against a wall, whispering to himself, "Ellie, you really don't love me anymore. Ellie, I can never forget our past. I'll just have to live in my memories for the rest of my life." The divorce decree finally came. Holding the official document felt like a victory. Sophie told me Julian wasn't doing well. On the day the divorce was finalized, he drank himself into the hospital with stomach bleeding. She sent me a blurry video a bystander had taken. I felt nothing. "Don't send me anything about him anymore," I replied. "We will never meet again." I heard that business partners tried to send him women who looked like me. He beat them all bloody. On my old, forgotten social media account there was a flood of messages from him. "Ellie, I've rejected every woman. I'm not asking for you back. I'm just asking for your forgiveness. Ellie, I got a kitten just like the one you always wanted. Can he call you mommy? Ellie, I'm breaking. What do I do without you?" I logged out and moved to a new city, a new country. I was free, and this life unburdened by a broken marriage was the one I craved. People would occasionally spot me and send photos to him, but he was always one step behind, always just missing me. He finally caught up to me at a remote monastery where I was volunteering. He joined in, helping the abbot with chores. The old monk looked at him and shook his head. "Young man, your attachment is too deep." Julian's eyes filled with tears as he looked at me. "I just want my love to forgive my transgressions." I met his gaze, my heart calm and still. "I forgive you." He looked at me in disbelief, taking a step forward. I took a step back. "Julian, you shouldn't be trapped in the past." He broke down, hugging his knees and sobbing like a lost child. "Ellie, after you left, I couldn't sleep. The house, it smells like you everywhere. Every time I close my eyes, all I can see is the disappointment on your face." I turned and walked away. "Let it end here, Julian." His hands trembled. He finally understood. I was never ever coming back. I traveled the world. Years passed. When I grew old and was ready to settle down, an unknown number called me. It was Julian. His voice was weak, raspy. "Ellie," he said, "I have cancer. I'm dying. Can I please see you one last time?" I didn't answer. The silence stretched on for a moment before I ended the call. The sun was warm on my face, and the air was fresh and clean. My new life was waiting. The inn,